Hey, I'm Trey Rance, and this is my friend
Joseph Coveney.
And this is your new favorite show called Rennie and Doc, widely acclaimed amongst the internet populations,
so far,
I've heard. Another week. This is the third episode.
Yes.
Which is very interesting to me because I thought we'd quit. And boy, does sometimes you know, I'm filled with a lot of self-doubt.
Yeah.
I think you are too.
Yeah,
but
always. I hope everybody is.
You start an endeavor, you go, yeah, I'm gung-ho, then you start to get creeps in. It's like the angel and the devil. You're really good at this, and you can talk. And this guy goes, you're really stupid. And I go, you're right, guy.
Yeah.
And also, you're right. So it's definitely hard to juggle those two things at once. First of all, I'm a little annoyed. I gotta say, I know I started the last show. I was a little annoyed too, but this is for a different reason.
I don't even remember why though.
It was because we recorded a whole show.
And
we
lost
had to scrap it
right.
because it didn't exist anymore.
See, it didn't hurt me quite as bad as it hurt you.
Well, it hurts a lot, but I'm over it. I write it in my journal every night how I felt about it. But you know, we birthed the Swedish chef. All right, so we both work in retail.
Yes.
We both know that, but they don't know that. But now they know. So we won't tell you where because we're very secretive people. So we work in retail. We have to deal with the public a lot.
Unfortunately.
It's not always bad.
No.
Often, though.
It is.
It is. And I was at work today and stocking some shelves, doing some things, taking care of business like that. And a guy comes up to me and says, hey, where's your baggies? Baggies. Hey, man, what the hell are you talking about? We got a lot of baggies.
Yeah.
Baggies for lots of things.
Yeah.
We got baggies to carry your items to your car. We got baggies to hold your leftover chicken fried steak. We got baggies to carry garbage. Yeah. And we got baggies to pick up dog shit.
Yes.
What are you talking about? So we got into it. I had to respond now. What kind of baggies?
Yeah.
And I shouldn't have to do that. Life should be easier.
Yeah.
Because be specific. That's why.
That's one of my biggest pet peeves is when you have to. Somebody gives you so little information, you have to form the question for them and hand it back to them.
And why does it have to be that way? Hey, when you go ask somebody, first of all, I never ask.
Yeah.
If I can go without it, I just look. I'll look 3 times as long.
Yeah.
Just to not bother anybody.
Yeah.
But if I have to find something, hey, I need a blue such and such that is for this, and can you help me find it, please?
Yeah.
I don't go, hey, you got any baggies?
Yeah.
Because I shouldn't have to have a follow-up. What do you mean? Just tell me what you want. We'll get to it, and we cut out, 3 extra seconds?
Yeah.
Not that it matters, but it does matter, and that's what I'm saying.
What kind of baggies was he looking for?
Trash bags.
Oh, see, I would have
1 extra syllable. Trash.
I would have assumed it was a Ziploc or something.
See, you can't assume. Same happens. A lot of times it happens with oil.
Yeah.
Do you have any oil? What kind of oil? You cooking with it? You putting it in your car? Sometimes you can flip it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. But it reminds me of I'm English now. Another time, I was at one of the old store that we worked at long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not recent. Guy comes up to me and says, hey, where's your breakfast food? What does that mean? Breakfast food? First of all, you can eat anything for breakfast.
That's true.
I've eaten lots of cold pizza for breakfast.
I have too.
That's not breakfast food.
It's one of my favorite things about having pizza is the leftover breakfast pizza.
Right. And even cold is good. So that encompasses that. But also, there's lots of different kinds of breakfast food.
Yeah.
You got your pancakes.
Yeah.
You got your eggs. 2 different spots.
Cereal,
bacon,
yeah.
Pop-Tarts, all in different areas.
Yeah.
Now, I could show you the whole food section.
Yeah.
If that's what you're asking. Or are you getting specific? I just don't know why people have to be... Did they do it on purpose, or is everybody an idiot?
I think it's a mixture of stupidity and...
Laziness?
Laziness, and I think people don't know how to talk to people.
But these are older people that... They've lived a long time. They should have learned
but there's
this.
people where you're in your work costume, you got a name badge on, you're stocking shelves, like you said, and they say, you work here?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm just a fan.
I love the company. But no, I don't understand that. I have to push back that I would submit that it's not laziness because we're having to take extra steps. So if it was laziness, we'd want to get to the point, hey, where's your pancakes? And
I had one the other
have to
day
go.
that was not the same problem, but almost as frustrating. This guy comes and says, where's your, let me see if I can pronounce this right. Nesperin.
I don't even know
Where's your
what that is.
Nesperin? I said, I don't know. What's that used for? Nesperin. He says it.
I'll repeat it.
Yeah, he
I'll
doesn't-
just repeat the name.
So I'm walking up and down. I'm Googling stuff on my phone.
You went that far?
Yeah.
I don't give the time of day.
Um,
If you're going to be an asshole about it,
Yeah.
I'm not helping you.
guess what it was?
I'll be nice the first time.
It was Neosporin. Nesperin.
You know what happens when I'm a spiteful man. I
Yeah.
shouldn't be. It's wrong. Yet I am. When it comes to those types of things, I would have said, oh, you mean Neosporin. And
Yeah.
I would enunciate very
Yeah.
hard. Neosporin. Just to drive it home that, hey, you said it wrong, and we wasted a bunch of time because of you.
Yeah.
Same thing happens with...
I'm that way too. I'm working on myself. I'm trying to let things go
Yeah.
and just say that interaction is complete and just be done with it. But where I work has a pharmacy in it, and a lot of people come in and have something written on a piece of paper that I assume their doctor writ for them.
Writ large, yes.
They get you in this wild goose chase, and then you find out that's just an ingredient. He's supposed to get some eye drops or something with that ingredient in it. But he just
boy.
comes in and goes, you have that?
Well,
I'm like, I've got all the ingredients of every product in the store
I
memorized.
chalk that up to old people.
It's not always old people, though.
Really?
Yeah. It's so frustrating. I could choke somebody. I could kick a baby.
Well, Joe, just keep it to 3 and above.
Why are we talking about work?
It's just something I like to bitch about things. It's one of my things that I like to do.
Yeah.
It helps get the rage out, so I don't just my head doesn't explode. But it does help. So actually, right on the heels.
Yeah.
I'm glad I remembered. Right on the heels. We talked last week about Neuralink.
Yeah.
Something that you drill a hole in your head. Not unlike Egon and Ghostbusters talked about.
That's right.
And implanted this thing in your head. There is something that popped up in my feed today that's not as invasive a thing, but yet I thought you might be enraged like me, and I wanted to show you this.
Oh, yes.
This is Apple Vision. Look at these people.
I thought that a lot of these were just jokes.
He's dropping a deuce. He's using the thing. You need it. Well, that may be fake.
That probably is.
But people, I don't understand. People are already stupid, lazy, and don't pay attention to anything. Like we were talking about. And yet, people will do this, even if these were all fake, which I don't think they all are.
They can't all be. There's no way.
It's just going to make everybody dumber, and what do they call that? Situational awareness is going to be out the window.
Yeah.
Now, it's better than Neuralink. Don't get me wrong. If they gave me a choice and they said, we're going to cut your face off, you have to get one of these or we cut your face off, which I don't know who would say that, but I would take this as the lesser of two evils.
We come from a time that...
In the olden days.
Yeah, not to sound like an old man, but
You are.
When I see a bunch of kids walking down the sidewalk and stuff like that, it just makes me angry. Not just for me, like it affect. It's like,
well, what are they doing? Texting?
I don't know. That's what I mean. Like they're not like in the moment.
Well, I'm not always either.
Well, I'm not either, but just today I walked out behind this building and I saw a tree and I sat by the tree and there was a forest line and I just sat there for a while, just enjoying
Really?
nature. Yeah.
You're better than me. I don't do that. There's a new there's a new trend going around called grounding, which I think you just did, or not just did, but whenever you did that.
I think you have to have your shoes off for that.
Well, your butt was on the ground.
Yeah. I do that though. I actually do.
You must get the grounding effects. No wonder you're so zen and all that stuff that they say. I don't even know what
I do. I do try. I'm not going to say I do it every day, but I do try to go out without shoes in the grass.
I think it's probably a good thing. I mean, if you're going to go make some kind of an argument about being more natural and how things used to be.
Yeah.
Maybe that is something.
Even if it's just chilling me out because I can sit and watch the birds and the squirrels, even if that's all I'm getting out of it, it's something.
Probably reduces some stress.
I'm sure it does. I enjoy it.
I get ideas of doing that stuff, and sometimes I'll go out in the back. We have a swing out in the back for my daughter, and sometimes I'll sit on it and kind of just look up into the sky. That lasts about 3 minutes. I go, what's on Facebook? I wonder.
Yeah.
Isn't there a new documentary that I wanted to watch? And then I kind of...
Yeah, but you do those ice plunges. I can't do that.
Yeah, but I don't do it very much.
I told you I tried to take a cold shower after you recommended those, and I was like, I can't even do this.
Yeah. The whole idea, or one of the big ideas of the cold plunge, is to put yourself through a difficult task that you choose to do.
That's called life.
That's what I was saying. I haven't done very many because life is hard enough in a lot of ways.
But isn't it though more than just a psychological thing? Isn't it supposed to like shock your body? And
it does. It something. I think it like flushes the lymphatic system, and it does. It releases dopamine when you get out, and you feel invigorated in a way. But guess what? Not worth it. I mean, I just don't think it's worth it all the time. Sometimes it is, and it is. It's like working out or like doing something strenuous or like finishing a thing.
Yeah.
Which you don't know how to
which I don't know how to do.
So it is like that when you go, I did this, I chose to do it, it was horrible, and I finished it, and I got out and I'm done. That is the accomplishment aspect of it is something.
You reminded me of something I saw a while back. This doctor or scientist, I don't know what. He was talking to
doctor.
You know, like the Takis, the hot Takis and stuff that all the kids these days are eating.
Those are terrible. But
I've never had one. Anyway, he said the reason, if you like those extreme hot foods, he said the reason you like it is because it's literally killing cells on your tongue, and so you get a rush when your body survives it when it stops.
Wow, that kind of makes some sense.
Your brain thinks we survived an attack.
We did it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that means that would go, I would imagine, same thing would happen with the ice plunge, because your nervous system thinks you fell in a frozen river.
That's true.
And then you survived it. So
that's true. And it's supposed to, all your warmth goes out of your extremities into your vital organs to keep them safe. Now, it's not, I wouldn't say it's always a good idea to go very long, and I wouldn't say, I'm not a scientist and I'm not a doctor, but I wouldn't do it too long. But scientists and people smarter than me have said that it's good. Something like 11 minutes a week, like 2 or 3 minutes at a time, is good for you.
Are you buying the bagged ice?
No.
Okay.
Well, I don't. That's why I don't do it in the summertime, because it's too. That's expensive.
Yeah.
So I do it in the wintertime. So I wait till it gets chilly, or in the fall time even. Wait until it gets cold outside, and the water itself, the Lord in heaven makes the water cold. He does this, and it becomes cold.
Okay.
And I don't have to pay.
That's smart, because that was going to be my next question: is how much money does that take to fill that?
Well, I don't know how much it takes to fill it, but I did pay like $100 for that. I bought a horse trough, and the metal one, which metal. Cold and water on the skin and the anus and all the things. It doesn't match very well, but it does. It works. Just don't. I mean, you're not gonna freeze. I mean, you could. I guess.
You
could. Caution. But anyway, speaking of that, and speaking of science, I thought we could get into, with our remaining time here, the crux of the situation. I thought it would be interesting because we talk about. We are not scientists.
No.
Not anymore. We gave it up. We said, no, we want to be regular guys. We want to live amongst the masses. And we both like science. We both like the sciences, and one of the things that we've talked about before, and I thought we could get into, is the fact I always get annoyed. People say science says this, or this says this, and you heard that with the big C word in the last few years. I can't say it because of freaking YouTube. When the science says this and do this, we know now that this is the truth. And this we know for a fact. Yeah, this is the way. And I don't like that. I can tell you why I don't like that. Before the big C word came along, even before it, for 2 or 3 years leading up to the big C word, I'm just going to keep saying that.
That's fine.
We all know what that means, right? For the 2 or 3 years before leading up to this, I was big. I got big into nutrition, dietary things, and the histories and the sciences of dietary nutrition. And when I researched it, there was a couple books that I didn't read. I don't like to read. I like to listen.
Who likes to read?
Well, I use Audible. I like people to read to me. Like it's like a nighttime story.
It's nice. I've been listening to audiobooks when I'm cleaning and stuff.
But it's easy for me to retain the information if somebody tells it to me. Like I could pay you $5 to just read me a book. But anyways,
I mean, I would do it.
There were 2 books that were big for me that taught me a lot about, I would say, malfeasance and bullcrappery of the scientific community, especially in the nutrition community.
Yes.
One of which was Big Fat Surprise by Anita Teicholz, and I believe The Case Against Sugar.
Yes, I remember you telling me about that.
From Gary Taubes. Now, they went into the backstory, back into the depths of just how we view food and the things and how things work. And it told me a story. There was a guy, matter of fact, I think I even pulled it up. Here's a little video. It's just a small news clip.
Okay.
There was a guy in the 50s, huge scientist in nutrition. Mm-hmm. His name was Ancel Keys.
Okay.
He had an idea. Heart attacks were on the rise, and there's something called atherosclerosis, which is buildup of cholesterol in the arteries. It blocks the arteries, causes myocardial infarctions, heart attacks. Mm-hmm. Okay? He was positive. The science told him that it was because of the saturated fat. Now we're talking about fats that are solid at room temperature. You got butter, tallow, lard. These animal fats, saturated fats, were the cause of heart disease. And he was positive about it. Let's just watch this real quick.
Yeah, you know a lot more about this than I do.
In one experiment, Keys and colleagues studied thousands of patients at mental hospitals in Minnesota, feeding one group a diet high in corn oil. Another group got saturated fats. It was the largest clinical trial in history to test Ancel Keys' diet heart hypothesis. But after years of research, they didn't publish what they found.
They got the granting funding for the study and then did the study, and the results ended up in a closet.
So why did they sit on the data? Because nothing happened. The results showed no health benefit from the high corn oil diet. It completely contradicted Ancel Keys' theory. Years passed. People kept on eating corn oil. But the whole story of the Minnesota coronary experiment has never been told until today. Now that a new team of scientists has recovered the data, reevaluated it, and discovered there was even evidence of harm from the high corn oil diet.
What? We were able to find that actually those that lowered their cholesterol more actually had increased rather than reduced risk of death.
Don't hear about that very much.
No. Keys and his colleague Ivan France have died. But a decade ago, science writer Gary Taubes asked Ivan France why they held back the data.
He said that they were disappointed in the way the study had
That's the best reason to hide what you cook. You spend a lot of money. They actually tested it on patients in a mental institution, which is kind of frowned upon now. It's ethical, yeah. So they would give them different foods. Isn't it interesting?
Yeah.
So you didn't know about this. And yet we still eat. Now, corn oil is high in linoleic acid, which is high. Linoleic acid is high in what they call seed oils now. The seed oils is big.
Yeah.
It wasn't big 5 years ago when I was looking into this. You got your soybean oil.
Yeah.
Your canola. Your corn. your safflower, all that stuff, all that liquid at room temperature is all seed oils. That's exactly what this is. He said, limit your saturated fat, bring up this stuff, lower your cholesterol, and you won't get heart attacks. And he was wrong.
Yeah.
And yet, people still believe it to this day.
Yeah.
Now, that saturated fat is the cause of heart disease. That just goes to show me, well, that showed me a long time ago, but the way people can be easily swayed, and people don't like to change their minds.
No.
Not even a little bit.
No. And if I was a scientist, let's say that you came out with a hypothesis and I came up behind you and I had a contradicting hypothesis.
Right.
It may not be very good for my career.
Correct.
Because you're well respected in the community. Who's this guy?
Correct.
So I may not want to publish this paper that I came out with.
That's true. And that actually did happen. There was a guy named Robert Yudkin in England that said, actually, I think it's sugar. And they had debates and publications. They would rip on each other.
Yeah.
And the Ancel keys went out, and that's what we think now. So it's a very...
And people just take it at face value.
Yeah.
And
they still say, if I'm almost...
I'm one of them. I was trying to...
How would you know?
When you told me that I eat a lot of butter, just straight out of the box.
Very delicious.
No, when I cook anything, I use a lot of butter, and I used to feel bad about using it until you had told me a little bit about this a few years ago, and now I just chop a big old chunk of butter off, put it on a steak.
But see, that's the problem. The problem is that even now they tell you to reduce your LDL cholesterol.
Yeah.
Which is a hotly contested variable. They say that it's the cause. Other people say it's just correlated, and it's not the cause. It's just something that happens. Right?
Okay.
So, if I can get into it a little bit, we've talked about before about when the body gets damaged inside, it calcifies.
Yes.
That's what they find when. Okay, so an LDL particle is a low-density lipoprotein, right?
I'm following you as well as I can.
I'm going to try to explain it as clear as I can, and we don't have a ton of time, but it's basically like a boat.
Okay.
And it carries cholesterol and triglycerides. And it's always circling. It goes from the liver, it goes all around the body. It transfers all that energy to the things that need it, comes back to the liver. That's what happens. Now, sometimes that LDL cholesterol can get stuck somehow in the lining of the wall of the for God's sake, now I can't of the artery.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know why. They say they don't know why, but they say it does, and it accumulates. It builds a plaque, like a soft cholesterol plaque, and that plaque can either harden, calcify, or it could break up and go and cause a stroke, like the little pieces. Yeah. So they say that this thing that your body makes on its own naturally is killing you. Why would it do that? There's no answer to that.
Yeah.
So they say reduce your LDL as much as you can, except we found out that lowering your cholesterol too much also causes all-cause mortality.
Yeah.
So who's right? That's the question. They have another hypothesis on the other side that says it's damage to the lining of the artery that causes the Band-Aid of the cholesterol to stop the damage, to stop it, to Band-Aid it, and then to calcify, and now it's healed. Now it's like a scar.
Yeah.
That's what they think that is, and that's caused by things that you eat that are detrimental, and smoking and all that stuff that they say not to do. So this is the reason why I have very little faith in the scientific community. But enough about that. Cholesterol's boring. I know that. 2 years ago, do you remember this? There was a study. Another reason why I don't like to trust the scientific community fully. I'm not against science. I want people to want to know all this stuff.
It's just foolish. All the things that we've learned and unlearned moving forward through time, to think that we finally just reached the top.
Right.
We're there. We know.
Right. You should always assume that you think you know now.
Yeah.
But let's keep studying. Let's always keep learning. So 2 years ago there was a big kerfuffle, if I could use the word.
You can.
They found out that for the last almost 20 years, well, it's like 17 or 18 years, all of the study about Alzheimer's disease was based on a fraudulent paper in 2006 that said the reason, we think the reason in this paper, they said, we think the reason is because of these plaques, these amyloid plaques are the cause of this.
I watched a documentary about that.
So we've spent the last almost 20 years trying to treat the thing based on fraud, and everybody believed it. They made medicine for it. They did all this research, wasted all the money, and how many people died because of it? Because we were searching in the wrong place because of fraudulent people. Or fraudulent paper, rather.
Yeah.
So I would say that all this to say this. In the scientific community, there are liars, dumb people, lazy people, just like in every other job.
Yeah.
They're still they're not just better.
Yeah, they don't get
because
a degree
they're in science.
And then,
think of the dumbest person you know at your job. You go, Bill, that guy didn't do anything, and he doesn't know anything. They're also in the scientific community. Sorry, and you're going to get stuff like that. And there's really nothing you can do about it except for try to weed it out as quick as you can.
Yeah.
So what do you do about that? I don't know.
I don't
know
know
the answer to that question. I think we have time to talk about the. Do you remember there was a thing about what was it? Did you know the name of the guy about the dinosaur thing?
I did at the time.
So, do you remember the basic premise of that?
He was a paleontologist, and he.
Well, maybe we can look it up after this and put it in the video.
Yeah, he had a couple of hypotheses, and I'm going to get mixed up. He worked with a female paleontologist.
This is a podcast,
and together they did research on both of their hypotheses. Hypotheses.
I don't know.
And anyway, so I can't remember whose was whose, but basically the two things were we have all these thousands of different dinosaur species, supposedly. Like, you got a Triceratops, and you got a little bit bigger Triceratops, and then there's little ones.
Yeah.
And he put forth that they were all the same dinosaur. Because, like, the little ones didn't have the nubbies on the frill.
Right.
And then as they got, if you're going by the species, looking at them by size going up, not as separate species, but as this is a child and this is the growth pattern.
So instead of having these, they find these 10 different looking, similar looking, but different dinosaurs. They go, oh, these are all different species of dinosaurs. His thing, or his theory was, this is just one dinosaur at different stages of its life. And
he was basically ostracized for that, because
I could buy that.
Well, I'm
talked
not a
about
paleontologist. Because every time, if you're a scientist or a paleontologist, you discover something new,
you get your name
a dinosaur, you get your name on it.
And you get to name it, probably.
So if he was going to say, if they were going to then accept that, they would have to take all of that from the other scientists or paleontologists that discovered. And then the other one was, I think it was the woman that believed that they could get soft tissue out of fossilized bones, and the scientific community is like, oh, you can't do that. All the minerals were taken out and they're replaced by rock minerals.
This one.
Oh, well, she hypothesized you could get soft tissue out of it, and
marrow.
But the official science is that there's nothing left of the original genetic code there. It's just been replaced by rock minerals in the shape of the bone. But they did tests, and they did extrapolate soft tissue from dinosaur bones.
So that's how...
and they're both ostracized.
So why do you think that is? It's just politics?
I think it's politics more than anything, and ego.
That makes sense. So let's say I write a big book about what it is, what I know, and we've taught this for 30 years, and then you come along and say, oh, that's wrong, and I go... He may be right.
Yeah.
No, I'm right.
It almost has to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a scientist again, like we said, not anymore.
Well,
but the
we gave it up.
documentary that I read the documentary.
We read documentaries. They're better than you.
I watched. All the science seemed to make sense to a layman.
Yeah.
But again, they're ostracized from the
Right.
scientific community.
Well, I think we've learned a lot about don't trust anybody, and everything's a lie. And we're now Alex Jones. We are together.
Yeah.
Alex Jones. And now everything's a conspiracy. We hoped you learned a lot on this third episode. If you made it this far, share the show. You know, it helps. We need the help, and we need to teach people how things work. And
we'll do that together.
We'll do it together as Rennie and Doc. See you next time.